All right, the next thing that has made news, made headlines. I love how everybody calls us brothers. I think I never noticed that we look together, but everybody all the time in the comments is telling how much we look alike, and I appreciate it. That was the interview process. Hey, Nick, you look really good, man. You look like I'm looking in the mirror.
You told me I needed to grow out a beard, whether before I got hired, because I needed to look more like you. So, and hence the beard.
That's it. That's what happened. All right. The next headline that the Pittsburgh Steelers have made over the last 24-ish hours is insider Mark Kaboly saying that there's the best case, or the most likely case, the most likely scenario is the Pittsburgh Steelers move up in the first round of the NFL draft to go get an offensive lineman instead of all of the scenarios that we have laid out in the last 2 days about the Steelers instead moving backwards. We're a week away from the draft, and it feels like they're going to move up. I'll tell you this. I talked to some sources yesterday, and what they told me is they are 85% sure. These are names in the building. 85% sure that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to add an offensive lineman in the first round. That unless there is a name that is on a very short list, and you can only imagine who those names are. Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell. I couldn't, maybe Rome Odunze. But besides that, if there are none of their short list of we are definitely taking these guys candidates, they would be stunned if the Steelers did not draft an offensive lineman in round one. Now, you talk about moving up. You got to be moving up for an offensive tackle. There's no chance you're moving up for a center. You're going to have all the decisions to make at 20 if you want a center, and maybe you miss out at one, but that's it. That's all you're going to miss out on is one. So the big question is, how far do you have to move up, and who are you aiming for? Are you aiming for a Ola Fashanu? Is that who you're looking for? You looking for the Penn State tackle that a year ago could have been the number one pick in the draft, that he went back to college and everybody was like, this guy's raising his draft stock from 3 to 1, and then somehow he fell? Is that who you're aiming for? Are you looking for a guy like Troy Fautanu, who you have put a ton of work and effort in? Or are you looking for Fuaga? Are you saying Fuaga's the guy? All the experts predict that Fuaga's the guy for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would say those are the big three, that if the Steelers are going to move up in this year's draft, it's going to be to get one of those guys. I think where it gets interesting is how high are they going to go up and who are they aiming for, and are they comfortable with all three of them? Because Troy Fautanu might be there at like 18. He might be there at 20. But are you going to take a chance and go and get him? Fashanu might be there. I mean, latest drafts say some of them have him going to the Steelers at 20. So he might be there 15, 17. And at that point, do you make a move? And then Fuaga, they're saying possible top 10 pick. So you going all the way up to 10? And what are you giving up to go all the way up to 10? Can you give me a list of the top of draft picks 10 to 20? Because I think that plays a major role in how this is going to shape out. Because obviously Joe Alt's going to go top 10. He's going to be the guy that goes first off the board. I think if all three of these guys fall past 10, the Steelers are just going to wait it out and make a move for just who's ever left at roughly 15, roughly 17. You got the list?
I do have the list here. Starting at 10 is the New York Jets. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings, the Denver Broncos at 12, Raiders at 13, New Orleans Saints at 14, Indianapolis Colts at 15, Seattle Seahawks at 16, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 17. Then you have Cincinnati and the LA Rams before the Steelers pick at number 20.
Yeah, so there are probably 4 or 5 teams in that 10 that could add an offensive tackle. Now it's a matter of who you got. You got to jump in front of the Bengals. The Bengals are almost definitely going to take an offensive tackle. You got to jump in front of the Bengals. Jacksonville doesn't have an offensive tackle, I don't believe. I believe they moved on from Juwan Taylor last year. I don't know who their offensive tackle is this year, so you might have to move ahead of those guys. You might get lucky with some names like the Las Vegas Raiders because they're going to look at quarterbacks, maybe if somebody's available. So you might get lucky there. I would say that the Steelers probably have to move up to 15, 5 spots, jump at least the Bengals and the Jaguars, and at least have an option. Might not be their top option, but at least have an option. Let me ask you this. You're moving up 5 spots. What are you giving up? You giving up a third?
If you're moving up 5 spots,
You moved
You're
up three
probably
last year. You gave up a fourth.
Yeah, you probably have to give up a third to move up, especially considering where the draft class is between 10 and 20 and 20 and 30. To have somebody move back to 20, especially with teams in that upper echelon there that are going to want one of Quinion Mitchell if he's there, that are maybe going to want a Cooper DeJean. And then you mentioned all these offensive linemen. To go up ahead of some of these teams that are going to want linemen, you're going to have to give up, I would think, a third round pick. I'd be surprised if you had to give up anything less than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at it the same. I think a third and maybe some, because once you get into that, there's a difference, just like you said, between 20 and 15. There's a massive difference in talent there. Massive difference. And if guys are falling, I think that's the other thing is if a Quinion Mitchell's falling, he's on the Steelers short list if we're going to get that guy.
Yeah.
If Cooper DeJean's falling, he's on the short list and we're going to get that guy. So at that point, you're moving up to go get them and not an offensive tackle. So you might take your chances and sit there if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. I say, and there's a good question here, is who would be willing to swap a draft pick for a decent price, that's the question here. It's not about where the Steelers would prefer to move up. It's about where the Steelers realistically could move up. And I'm going to say New Orleans makes a lot of sense at 14 because they're not high enough yet to really get like that top 10. This is tier 1 talent, no questions asked, but they are not good enough to go into the season and think that they're okay with what they have. They'd like to add more draft picks. They'd like to add more talent. I could see 14 with the New Orleans Saints. I could see 15 with the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts are a good team, and I think that they want to see where they're at, but I think the Colts are almost put together a little bit. I think that they have a team where, yeah, the 15th pick might be great, but the 20th pick and a third round pick might be a little bit better, and they might be okay with making that move. Those would be the two that I guess. I think everybody else, the Seahawks are going to be hunting, the Jaguars are going to be hunting, the Bengals are going to be hunting, and at that point, the Rams aren't really a threat. So you're not really looking at ideal situations. I could see 14 and 15 being a move that the Pittsburgh Steelers make. Out of those three names, Fashanu, Fatanu, and Fuaga, somebody needs to make a shirt that says all of those names. That's a tongue twister right there. Who's the guy that you think is highest on the Steelers list and the most realistic to be there at 14, 15? That might be two different names.
The question that I have there is, what are they getting Troy Fatanu for? Because I've seen a lot of people, and you saw Daniel Jeremiah say it, I believe, yesterday, that Troy Fatanu might be the best center in this draft, and he might be a pure 5-tool athlete, 5-position player. Do you go up and get a guy like that, and then when you bring him in, you make the decision, are you drafting him to be a tackle? Are you drafting him to take Dan Moore's spot? Or are you drafting him to be a center? Because if he is indeed a better center than Graham Barton, then Graham Barton, as you've talked about, and we've all heard, is a bona fide center prospect. If this guy's better than him, that's who you're moving up to get, I would think. Now, Olu, Fashanu, and Troy Fatanu are both. Did I already say Fatanu? Who's the other one? I'm missing them all. But the other two, Talise Fuaga, the other two are good offensive tackles. But is it enough to pay that third round price to move up in order to get them? Or do you want to stay where you're at and potentially get a Graham Barton if you're looking to get them at left tackle? So I personally, I don't know if it's worth the squeeze to go up and try to move up 5 spots. I think all of those players have potential to be very good. But when you look at where the Steelers are at, trading up, if you're going to do it, it's going to be for a guy that could potentially be the best center in this draft and could potentially be somebody that could move around your line and be a genuine utility piece.
I don't disagree with that. I think, if you're going to move up and you're going to get a guy that could play center but could play off, that's not a move I'm making. Just because I think that it's the quarterback. If you got to, versatility is awesome until you need somebody to be good at one position. And I think the Steelers need somebody to be good at tackle. And I think they need somebody to be good at center too. But I think there are other centers. And I also it doesn't solve anything to say, all right, this guy's good at both, but we still need another one. You know, we need 2 open. If they only had one and I was comfortable with either Nate Herbig or Dan Moore Jr., I'd say that works out. And I get where you're coming from. But I think at 20, that makes more sense than trading up to get a guy that says, hey, I fill any spot you got, but I might not be a superstar in any spot you got. And if he's a better center, I'm definitely, if that's where you're thinking, if the Steelers are putting him at center, I'm definitely not making the move, because that's, at that point, it's like all the arguments of, I've argued against people saying don't take a center in the first round.
Mhm.
I think you should take a center in the first round if the best one's available and he's your best option. I don't think you should trade up for a center, because it's a center, and at the end of the day, it's a center. So I think the logic there makes a lot of sense. I don't think you're moving up to go get that.
Mhm.
That being said, I could see them moving up for him, but to play tackle. I could see them moving up and saying, this guy is very high on our list. He's the last one. Everybody else is gone. We want him because the rest of them are question marks. We're going to get him, and he's going to play right tackle for us in the NFL. And I could see that being the reason why they go to get him. I don't see them moving him to center. And if they do move him to center, you're going to get some hate if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, because there's going to be some people that are pissed that you just moved your first round pick to center. But I could see it. I could see Fashanu going a lot earlier than people are predicting, and I could see Fuaga being gone before the 10th pick in the draft. And if that's the case, the Steelers are making moves, and I would highly expect them to go get Troy Fatanu and not take any hesitations. But that's my prediction. The fact that we're talking about moving up is interesting.
Yeah.
Is interesting.
Certainly interesting, especially after the last 2 episodes that we've had. And I honestly,
yeah,
talking about both sides of it, I'm still in the camp of, I would prefer they trade down and get more in the second or third round than trade up.
Yep.
At this point.
I agree. You're moving, in my opinion, you're moving down unless you are sold. If Fuaga or Fashanu are there and you're saying, hey, go get them, there's an argument to be made. Fatanu's not a name I'm going to get. I think those are the only two that I'm saying, all right, maybe Joe Alt somehow falls out of the top 10. Then boom, maybe. But no.